I'd like to call the meeting of May 9th to order, please. First on the agenda will be Nicole St. Jean, our student council rep.
Okay.
Nicole?
First I have sports. For the girls softball team, they are now 11-3 and they qualified for the districts. Their next game is this Wednesday at home at 3:30 against Grafton. And the Oxford High School varsity baseball team also made districts and they are 10-4 and their next game is also on Wednesday, also against Grafton. The girls track, they beat Auburn by 5 points, and this is the first time they've beaten Auburn in a long time, they said, and they are 3-5. In the boys track, they're 7-1, and they're having a really great season, and both the boys and the girls track teams have a meet on Wednesday against Leicester, David Prouty, and Bartlett, and the boys track team will be going to districts this Saturday, May 14th. From the National Honor Society, our induction ceremony last week went very smoothly, and on behalf of the entire NHS, we'd like to thank everybody that helped and everybody that came to our ceremony. Many members will be going to Chaffee School tomorrow to present the Get Into It grant and program. From the band, their spring concert will be May 18th at 7 p.m. in the OHS auditorium. They are preparing for the Memorial Day Parade, and they are giving a performance at the middle school on June 9th. Yearbooks are still on sale for $75. From the Student Council, we elected new officers. This is the future Student Council President, Ryan Donovan, and he will be the student rep after I leave. Vice President Manjusri Burdikar, she'll be a senior in the fall, and Ryan will be a junior in the fall. Treasurer will be Jenna Bird, and she'll be a junior. Secretary Laura Holmes will be a senior. Corresponding Secretary Erin Sullivan will be a sophomore, and Chief Justice Nicole Ross will be a junior. Our flower sale came in and it turned out to be a very successful fundraiser. There's actually still some flowers in the student council room, so students are picking them up and delivering them to all of their buyers. Tomorrow we'll be holding class elections for the oncoming senior, oncoming junior, and oncoming sophomore year. This is where students can run for class office positions and also student council positions. On Wednesday we have our talent show at 7 p.m. in the OHS auditorium. And the cost is $5 to watch and $3 to perform. So if you don't want to perform a talent, you should still come out for a fun night on the town. This Thursday is our award breakfast that we have every year where our advisor, Mrs. Spitz, will give out awards for perfect attendance, all those kinds of things, and where the seniors kind of hand over the torch to the oncoming student council people. The senior prom is this Saturday, May 14th at White Cliffs in Northborough from 7 to 11 p.m. Well, pictures actually start at 6, so I guess I should say 6 to 11 p.m. The senior week, which everybody has a schedule in front of them in the paper, there's a lot going on in the next 2 weeks for seniors. Next week, Tuesday through Friday, we have finals. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we have our first 2 periods are finals, and then we can exit. Tuesday we have a normal day, and we have our 6th period final, and Monday is a normal day of school. And then the week of the 23rd is our busiest week. On Monday we have our senior trip to High Meadows. On Tuesday we have graduation rehearsal and the baccalaureate service at 7 p.m. in the auditorium. On Wednesday we have more graduation rehearsal, and we have class night at 6 in the auditorium. On Thursday we have more graduation rehearsal if necessary, and our senior banquet is at 6 p.m. at the Spencer Country Inn. And Friday, May 27th, is Oxford High School graduation at 6 p.m. I'm not excited at all. What are you talking about? So a lot of exciting stuff going on for the seniors. From Best Buddies, this Thursday also is that's the other paper in front, is they are holding a fundraiser at Papa Gino's where 20% of your bill, if you present this coupon, will go towards the club. So come out and support them and have some good pizza. From the 84.org, they are, we're in the process of planning our end of the year banquet, which we usually hold at Oxford's. I'm not sure if it'll be there again. And also, I'd like to give everyone an update. Mr. Spitz's report cards from his non-smoking tries. He's around a B student right now. We are pushing to get him to an A, though. You can do it, Mr. Spitz.
Thank you. I will keep trying.
I think that's it. And then I have my ROTC report. This past weekend, Commander Maisley took the seniors sailing, and all of them completed their exams. Last week, they helped at the NHS induction. He helped a lot. He got the cakes, he got the sandwiches. They helped a lot. They also attended the town meeting and helped there. 19 students are going to Newport with 130 students from 7 other schools to the Basic Leadership Training Camp in Newport, Rhode Island. And the graduation will be, I think they leave Friday, and the graduation will be Sunday at 12 at the Navy Station. And Master Chief will be a full-time instructor for the Basic Leadership Training. And Wednesday, they're having a special orienteering training, which is an Olympic sport. I'm not sure what it is. And Mr. George D'Agostino will be here, and Commander Maisley described orienteering as land race against time. Wish I had more on that. They helped at the flower sale at the fire department. They did that for Easter and this past weekend for Mother's Day. They have a lot coming up too with Memorial Day, graduation. They're helping out the veterans put flags in the cemetery. They're leading the town parade, and they're performing at different schools. And their end of the year banquet, I was supposed to get back to him today and I forgot. Sorry, Commander Maisley, because I know you're watching. But he's talking with the Elks, and they'll find out the date for that soon, and you'll all get an invitation, I'm sure. So.
Well, thank you very much, Nicole. We appreciate it. And I'll just say one little thing about you, if I could. Nicole's been with us for 2 years, which is pretty amazing, as the student council representative. She really has been an inspiration to other students to become involved in the school community. Nicole has made the entire student council experience a positive one. There were times that it wasn't always so much fun to be part of the student council, and she made it that way, so thank you for that. And I personally want to thank you for your dedication to your position in the school.
Thank you for having me.
And we also have Ryan Dutterman that I want to make sure we welcome.
Woo!
You've got some big shoes to fill. All right. Mr. Himmelberger.
Thank you, Mr. Spitz. On behalf of the administrators and the school committee, I wanted to say thank you very much, Nicole, for your 2 years. You brighten up everyone's day, no matter how difficult it has been.
Yeah.
And meetings.
And meetings. And for that, we owe you a great deal of thanks. Oxford loss is Chestnut Hill and Boston College's gain.
Thanks.
And I know you will do well, and please keep in touch. You made my first 2 years as your superintendent much easier because of your input. And we'd like to give you just a small parting gift. The only caveat is you must open it now before you leave.
Before I leave?
Yes.
Okay.
We want to embarrass you a little more.
So hurry up, you're on camera.
Don't rush me. I don't want to rip the wrapping paper. Oh, no. Oh, it's taped? Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. This is so cute. It's a snow globe, and it says, "Success is a journey, not a destination." And then it says Nicole St. Jean School Committee Student Representative, Oxford Public Schools, 2010 to 2011. Thank you very much.
Very welcome. Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Thank you again, Nicole. I'm going to turn the meeting over to you.
Okay.
We'll go to the retirement awards.
Very
next,
good,
if we
thank
could.
you. Thank you. It is my pleasure this evening to recognize three, the class of 2011 in terms of retirements. And we have 3 people who collectively have served the Oxford Public Schools for well over 100 years combined. And that means they all started very young, and that's all that means. They all began their careers very young. And I didn't know where to start, so I have to go alphabetical as the safest way out here. And I guess I'll call each one of you one at a time to be able to sit up front here.
So who's got?
So who do you got
I'm going to
first?
call Susan Briety.
All right.
And as all three know, we don't have enough time scheduled on this meeting to go into all of that you have done for our students and this town over the last several decades. Susan has most recently taught art at Oxford High School, and it's funny, those classes are always oversubscribed and close early. Am I correct, Mr. Wells? So it's amazing and a testament to what the students know about your teaching and their learning. Susan began her career in Oxford in 1976, and and has done, along with her teaching, much in terms of coaching, cheerleading, and helping out with the yearbook and advisor, and all of these folks have gone through Prop 2.5 and ed reform and various recessions that seem to always impede all of our progress. And I think it's amazing to me because when you look at the total career and the lives that you have touched, I find it an honor that I am the one at the end of the career that gets to recognize you in this way. And it has been a terrific honor to work with you. You bring tremendous vitality, even in your last year, to the job. And your colleagues are better off for it, and certainly Mr. Wells is, and all of those that you teach. So on behalf of the Oxford Public Schools, thank you very much and congratulations.
Mrs. Bridie, I just wanted to say one thing into that, because I'm still chuckling about something you told me the other night at the prom, which I just thought was hilarious, that your husband insisted that you take a picture of you submitting your resignation papers. He didn't believe that you were finally going to do it. So I thought that was cute, and I still am chuckling about it. But thank you very much for everything. It was a pleasure knowing you.
It's been one of the greatest pleasures of my life to have taught so many kids, which you one of them. And the greatest pleasure to serve the children of Oxford for all this time. It's a wonderful opportunity to have given back. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say to Mrs. Bridie, yes, I was in one of those early classes, and one of my dearest wishes was that my children would experience you. So I'm very thankful you stayed, because all three of my daughters got to receive the joy that I did too. So thank you so much.
Wow, that's great. Right ahead.
And alphabetically, I would ask that Nancy James come up and take a seat so I can say just a couple of words.
Do I have to give a report today?
No report.
Not another one. You're good. You're good. We'll let you off.
Nancy came to us already after 8 years in her career as an educator, and for the past 34 years has helped so many of us make sure that we stay on the right path. And through her work as a counselor, through her work involved with Project Coffee over the last 19 years and the last 3 as its director, many students are on the right path because of all of the work that you did and all of the caring that you do each and every day to make their lives better. And, you know, it's amazing that you started off as a French teacher way back in the early part of the century, and you found your way into counseling as a guidance counselor, an adjustment counselor, and then into Project Coffee, where some of our neediest and most at-risk students are. And I know for a fact that several of them come back from time to time throughout the year and just poke their head in the door and want to talk to you and let you know how well they're doing. And a big reason for that is because of the caring and the commitment that you have done for them every day. And so on behalf of all of us in the Oxford Public Schools, thank you so much for your time and your effort, and I have just a small box to give you.
Would you like to say a little something, or we'd love to hear a word from you.
Put her on the
I didn't
spot,
tell you
right?
about
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
part
yeah.
of the deal.
Yeah,
And
no.
if you don't, that's,
No, actually, I will. And I started the school year speaking at the very first day with the new teachers who had come on board. And I was the first person up and to tell them a little bit about what Project Coffee is and to invite them to visit. But one of the things I said to them that day, and it would certainly be my wish for all educators, is that I have been blessed in my 42 years in education to find each and every day an inspiration, exciting, new ideas, new things to do. I've never had a day when I've regretted being an educator. And my wish for them was that they would find in their career that same enthusiasm. And I remember saying to them, there is no burnout here. There's just a burning desire to help kids achieve all they're capable of. And I would certainly like to thank all of you for continuing to support Project Coffee. And I would hope that its 32 years in existence continues for the next 32 years, and I'm sure with your support that it will. Thank you.
thank you very much.
And next in the class of 2011 is Deborah McGrath. Please come up. And welcome.
Thank you very
It
much.
says in all of the research that I was able to do that you started off as a volunteer aide in kindergarten at the Clara Barton School when I was in college, which was a long time ago. And here you are retiring as a kindergarten teacher.
That's correct.
And all I know is that any prospective parents, you could probably put your own consulting business together to let them know what to expect from their 5 and 6 and 7-year-olds, because you have taught so many over the past 34 years. And it is the quiet professionalism that you bring to the school building every single day. And the students, the children are far richer for being in your classroom. And I believe that you set a very high bar for how teachers can be professional and get the job done and enjoy what they do. And I think that the Oxford younger students have benefited from you for so many years, and we wish you all the best in your retirement and hope that you realize how many lives you have truly touched in your career, and we thank you.
Thank you very much.
You don't have to open this like Nicole tonight.
How come I only get the email?
Would you like to say a few words?
Look at-
You don't have to. You don't have to.
All I want to say is thank you. It's been a wonderful 34 years. I see people here who I had in school. It's just been wonderful, and I'm leaving happy. Mr. Yvonne allowed me to have this last year in kindergarten. I'm enjoying myself. What a way to go. Thank you.
Good for
Thank
you. Congratulations. Okay, now on to more routine matters. We have before you the approval of minutes from April 25th. We have a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Okay, can we put that to vote, please?
Yes? Yes.
And I also vote yes, those are approved. And you're free to leave whenever you want. You can go ahead. We've got stuff to do, so.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you,
Thank you.
all of you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, Nicole.
Bye, hon.
Okay, next on the agenda on the new business, we have the superintendent's evaluation. Excuse me? I didn't have a copy of that.
The
Do we?
executive.
We have the executive there as well from the same date? Okay.
On May 4th,
And May 4th.
wasn't that? Oh,
So you just have the 25th?
And May 4th, but it's not executive.
Okay.
Oh, that's right.
Before you have the minutes for May 4th, can we have a motion to approve?
so moved.
Second.
And I'll also take a vote on that.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm just so giddy from all this tonight. And I'll also vote yes, so we're all set with that. And you have the executive minutes?
No.
You don't, you just have those two?
Yep.
Okay, very good, thank you. So next on the agenda, we have the superintendent's evaluation, and I'll try to stay giddy. Okay, basically what I'd like to go through tonight is just read you a summary of comments from the school committee. This is an important time of the year for Mr. Himmelberger. We started this process back in January. The review forms are handed out to all the committee members, and we all really try to take our time and to really examine how we feel he's achieved in the 30, I think it was 30 review areas that we go after on a superintendent's review. So I'll give you kind of a summary and also allow the committee members themselves to, they've all included comments with their reviews, and I'm sure they'd like to add some points to this. Basically, the annual evaluation process for the superintendent is a vehicle that can be used by a school committee to formalize all discussions which were held individually during the year. It should be a learning tool for the superintendent to utilize as he proceeds through decision-making processes of the coming year. The evaluation process should not be taken lightly, as this process is used to gauge successes and failures for the past year. Each member has taken his or her time to reflect on the successes and failures of the past year and scored each category based on their view of success. The superintendent was given the opportunity by the members to discuss all results prior to this review and offer his opinion on each topic and the results reviewed. Basically, the way it's set up is that there are 9 different standards that can be used, 9 being distinguished all the way down to 1 being unsatisfactory. So basically what we do is we take every one of those averages, average out each line, come out with a mid-score for each question that was asked of the superintendent. And from that, as you go through, you'll hear the scores that we actually had. These marks that were given by each committee member were averaged together to give one unified message to the superintendent from the committee. This makes the process fair and equitable to all members as well as the superintendent. The evaluation is then given a total score. The total score mark reflects the addition of each member's mark for the 30 areas of review contained within the document. The results will fall into the following categories. Exemplary is 203 to 270. Proficient is 135 to 202. Progressing is 68 to 134. And does not meet standards is 30 to 67. Mr. Himmelberger's evaluation was a 134, which is the high end of the progressing range. The 30 areas of review that each member evaluated were a 4.0, which is an average rating. Areas of the achievement for the superintendent were the superintendent plans, implements, supports, and assesses instructional programs that enhance teaching and student achievement of the state educational standards. The superintendent develops plans for effective allocation of fiscal and other resources. The superintendent effectively manages human, material, and financial resources to ensure student learning and to comply with legal mandates. Some additional areas which were noted as high average were: the superintendent provides staff development programs consistent with program evaluation results in school and structural improvements. The superintendent provides staff development for all categories of personnel consistent with individual needs, program evaluations, results, and instructional improvement plans. Areas that the committee agreed should be a focus for this coming year: the superintendent establishes and maintains effective channels of communication with the school committee members and between schools and community. The superintendent develops procedures for working with the school committee that define mutual expectations, working relationships, and strategies for formulating district policies. There were 2 additional written evaluations which will be contained in the review package, and this is the summary for the school committee as well. It will be up to those committee members to share this information publicly or not. Overall, the committee felt that you were performing your duties as required and have met the obligations of your office. This, unfortunately, will not help the district to achieve its potential academically. You have shown at times great strength and leadership qualities during a few of our more serious safety issues, which we thank you for. You take the safety of Oxford's children to be one of the most important functions you tackle on a daily basis. There were some trying times for all of us this year. The school consolidation has worked despite its initial rollout. We need to make sure that each year we never lose sight of why we are all here, but especially the superintendent. That is to better the educational standards of our most precious commodity, our children. The superintendent will be given this review to help focus his attention and energies on issues the committee feels is the direction the school department should go. I know that all committee members would be willing to work as closely as needed with the superintendent for him to achieve a distinguished rating in all categories next year. From that, I'd like to add my own comments as well. This really is a summary of what I felt as I was going through and reviewing. This is the actual form that we used. We compiled all the information from all the committee members, which will be in the record. I would like to say to you, Mr. Himmelberger, that I took on chair this year, not really knowing how that would go with you. And something, you surprised me in many different areas. And I feel that some of the things that I ranked you on back in January and February when I started this process, I think you've given some real attention to, and you've really directed and really tried to make sure that you fine-tuned the things that you knew we were after from last year. And I appreciate that. The only thing that I could see through this whole process, with me, communication was sufficient, and I was always very, I was acceptable with the communication levels that we had, but I think it's something that you do need to actually make sure that it's fine-tuned for the upcoming year, because communication is the utmost of importance for everybody to make sure that everyone understands what's happening on a daily basis in the school department. Overall, I think you've developed very well this year. I think you've settled in. The point that always worried me was the academic end of it, and I think you have settled into that, and I appreciate the way that you went after the suggestions that I made you academically, and I really think that you have focused your attention on curriculum, academics, more so than the financial end this past year. And I want to thank you for that, because I think that's really what your job is all about. So I think, next year, I really and truly see some glowing things happening for you next year. And I think if you keep moving on the path that you're moving on, that things will be, the school department will be in great shape. So thank you. Mrs. DeWitzik, I know you had some comments you wanted to make.
Well, certainly. During my review, I also just want to say publicly that, Ellen's average was average to good rating, which is very good in these times. I personally probably hold the bar up higher than most people, but I like the fact that we all try to get to that bar. Strengths you had already included, and I also agree with you, is that obviously it's a very supportive administration staff. You can see them all here. They work together as a team, and if you can lead a team like these talented people together for our students, that's quite an accomplishment. So I think that's something that says a lot. The reconfiguration of the elementary buildings, that should help our MCAS and the quality of learning and the common planning. That was a big undertaking, and we did stumble a little more of busing than that, but I think we're going to see great dividends on that, and I think that was a great idea and a bold idea, and I'm sure a few years from now we won't even remember the division, and I think that's going to help all our children here. The other strength, obviously, we talked about it, it's at town meeting, is the middle school renovation. That's huge. I know that's a task that both of you worked on, but I know that's a task that you undertook, and you've kept us right in line to make sure that we might get some money from this. And in this day and age when people don't have that kind of money, when you can get $3 million in grant to get that all done, that's huge too. So financially, that's a big step for us too. things that we all talked about and we're going to do better on. And I think as a committee, we look at these two, when you go through these reviews, we ask not only have you done these things or how we view you, but I asked how did I do too, because we're a team. And the school committee has to be a team with the superintendent. And if they're not, then neither one of us win. So policy is a big thing, and we've talked about it, and if we're going to have policy, then we have to follow policy. We all have to do it, or throw it out, because we can't pick and choose which policies we're going to adhere to. So, and that's part of our problem, I won't say our problem, our review too. As a school committee, we should make sure that we know what policy is or eliminate it. District plan we talked about, and communication is hard for everybody. We have to find a way to do it, and I think that's hard for anyone, but I would suggest the superintendent, no matter how it works, if one feels good and the other one doesn't, then it doesn't work. So you have to somehow find a way to communicate with everybody. Even if it works for some, it doesn't work for others, so it just doesn't work then, and the team suffers for it. I also just want to, one of the items that wasn't present there, and I always say, and I mark myself bad marks on it too, is to do the public relations for this district. We just have so many good things that go on in this district, and we get caught up in all of the paperwork and the minutes and all of that, and we don't bring enough kids and organizations and clubs in here to say what goes on, so that other children feel like, you know what, there's a lot up there, maybe I should stay, or what goes on. And then the town people know that's where the money goes, and that's what they're doing. So I plead with you, I won't be here, but I plead to make sure that we do the PR work, that we bring in all these children, because we have such great success stories, but we don't hear about it. We always talk about the bad things, or the difficult things, or what we're under. So that, although that's not defined in your evaluation, I share that with you, and I share that with the rest of the committee that stays. Just make that a priority for us too, because I think the town needs to see what good things that go on here. And I think overall, average good it's not bad. It's not bad, but I know yourself how you are, and I know that you want to strive for the high bar. And I appreciate that, because unless you try, you won't know what you'll reach. And I know you do that often. So it's okay to try and maybe fall short, but at least you didn't fail doing nothing at all. So I appreciate that, and I think that's all I have.
Great. Mrs. Conan, would you like to add anything?
Just a couple of things. I agree that the start of the year started with a bang, if you will, for a couple different reasons. The busing was a tough issue, and I think that was a very public issue, which wasn't helpful to any of us. But we got it resolved, and I think that the elementary school changes have just been huge benefits. Now hearing that there are no parents having anything bad to say about this, I think is kudos right in itself. We had a great conversation a couple of weeks ago. You kind of know where I am coming from and what I would like to see focused on a bit more. And I think that as the lone member here that will be here again next year, I think that we're off to a good start, and everybody kind of has expectations set. So I think we'll be in good shape. Good, thank you.
All right, now you get to say a couple words.
Thank you, Mr. Spitz. I would like to begin by first thanking the committee for all of the time that you did spend. It's a long task to do these evaluations, having done them myself when I was in your shoes. And so I do thank you for the time, and to Brenda and Mark as well, for the conscientious approach that you all took. I do agree that there were some things that I could have done better. And it has been such an incredible year, and as I talk to my colleagues, they cannot believe that I experienced all of this in 1 year, when some of them don't experience it in their whole career. To start off with a bus fiasco, really, when our students were on the bus for many hours, and sometimes on the wrong bus, and after 2 hours sometimes ending up back at school. It was about the most difficult way to start a school year. And thanks to everyone who is here from the administrative team, because I remember those first couple of weekends, everyone donated the weekends to try and do the work that Durham should have completed over the summer. But the bottom line is that there was no one to blame for that but myself. And we did, after that first week and a half, correct it. And I think that the school year has run relatively smoothly operationally after we went through that bus fiasco, for lack of a more descriptive word. I then get a call from the T&G to tell me that the teachers are going work to rule, and that's how I found out. We had one of our charter students hit waiting for a bus the third week of school. We had one of our football players pass away on the field. We had one of our teachers pass away suddenly. We have been in what seems like constant negotiations, in a very difficult negotiation year. And through it all, I believe that we as a district, and certainly as an administrative team, because it's really not me, you know, I run those meetings, but there's an awful lot of talent, as we know, that guides this district. And through their commitment, we have made gains for our students and for our faculty and staff. And I think that this district is moving in the right direction, and I look forward to finishing this year strong with less than 6 weeks to go, and then really assessing the strengths and the weaknesses and what we did well and what we didn't do well, and attacking those issues as we go forward. Certainly the communication was, I guess, frustrating to me because for both of the chairs that I have worked with in the first 2 years, I think the communication was very good, but it was difficult to read the CBS Mind or what the Telegram was going to publish. And so in some cases, I was behind the curve in learning about things when maybe I should have or could have anticipated some potential issues. And I think that is a big piece to make sure that working with the next chair and that all 5 of the committee members are tuned in to what they really need to know to be able to do their jobs. I think that celebrating and recognizing student achievement throughout the year is something that we all need to do, but certainly I can do a far better job of making sure that on a weekly or bi-monthly basis we get the folks to get some recognition, because we do great things in all of our schools. And we do wonderful things in our classrooms, and we have got faculty and staff that just care about our students. And, you know, for all of the bruises that we all suffer, you know, throughout the year, at the end of the day, when you walk into a classroom after a bad day or during a bad day or from a previous nightmare day, and you sit and you watch, that reaffirms why we are all here. And so I take the criticism in a very constructive way, and I look forward to improving as a leader of this district, and I know that the next committee will certainly be the beneficiary of those improvements. So I thank you all.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you for your time. We're going to put you back on the stand again, though, because we're going to talk to the superintendent of schools next about other stuff. Do you have anything that you'd like to talk about tonight?
I do have just a couple of short points to bring out. As everybody knows, town meeting was a difficult meeting for all of us that are trying to support our schools and move our district forward. I was disappointed that our town manager inadvertently left out some of the facts when he presented Project Coffee as a funding source, and I thought that was very nice of him to do that. However, let me be clear so that everybody watching over the next week as well as this evening understands, while the town manager's statement that there's $500,000 in a revolving fund earmarked for Project Coffee was true, those familiar with Mass General laws know that that money's is earmarked for Project Coffee and Project Coffee only. So those funds are not available to the school committee to do as they please. As much as we would like to, those monies have already been spoken for, because like most tuition-based programs, the revenues have been realized in the front half of the year, but the expenditures go on throughout the year. So as we continue to spend down that account, there is no pile of money that can rescue the school district. That is up to the taxpayers of this town. So I wanted to go on record as making sure that everybody understood that. Because of the actions of town meeting, today I spent the whole day talking to staff and letting folks know who might be losing a position and therefore a job, and also to try and anticipate where folks might be at risk for losing a position. And as we had talked about, we do have 2 classroom positions at Barton. We have 1 classroom position at Chaffey, along with a literacy position at Chaffey. And we have 1 art position at the middle school and 2 music positions at the middle school, 1 world language and 1 business/computer position at the middle school that we are unable to sustain in the present funding environment and with the current programmatic strains of making sure that a schedule for each child is as complete and as educationally sound as we can possibly make it. We also have at the high school a world language position and a phys ed position that will not be funded next year. Now, as the personnel changes are made, and as we go through all of the contractual guidelines that we must follow, the final personnel may look the roster may look a little bit different, but the net of it all is that we are losing 8 positions in a district that cannot lose any, and quite frankly needs 8 additional positions. And so for us as a school committee, as an administrative team, and as a town to support the level of education that we deliver this year and will find a way to deliver next year is truly an amazing feat, because we are at risk, as our NEASC accreditation report shows, that we are short by a lot in offering our students at the high school quality electives. And now with this budget cut, we are taking away a key component of a child's growth with unified arts at the middle school, and we'll have classes far too large for the 5th or 6th year in a row, over 30 in many cases, which is just not acceptable. We have curriculum at the elementary levels that in some cases doesn't have current or any textbooks. So for those who voted last Wednesday at town meeting for a $14,100,000 budget and thought that that was going to get us through, I would like to let those folks know that that is not the case. And we will be doing what we always do, and that is giving 100% of our time and energy and commitment to our students. But it sure would have been nice to get a little more support so that we didn't have to start stripping away at some of the key elements that every student and every child in this town deserves and should be able to access. Just a couple more
You go right ahead. I'm
issues,
liking the role you're on.
but that is where we are, and it was a very sad day to be able to talk to people and as their superintendent, and to have to tell them that we are unable to fund their position going forward. And for all of us that have been in that position, it is no fun, because it's real people's lives and it's real people's families that have to adjust to a town that didn't see its way to funding this school budget properly. And to have to tell faculty who are putting money on a house this week that they're not going to have a job, and to have to tell faculty who are trying to plan a family that they will not have a job, and to tell people that have donated and given 17 or 18 years of their professional career to the students in this town that they don't have a job is a very sad day for me. So having gotten that out of my system, we will roll up our sleeves and do the best we can, because that's what we do as educators. And that's the job that we all sign on for. So that, I believe, is everything that I have on my report, with the exception of one more thing. And I waited till now to do it.
Do I have to use my gavel? Because I've wanted to use that since I've been here. And
You know, everybody knows that we sometimes have a love-love, hate-hate relationship. But at the end of the day, I can honestly say that all 5 of members of this school committee had the same common interest and the same common goals that all of us have. And that is to not only offer the best education, but to try and improve what we offer our students so they are prepared to take on the world when they leave Oxford Public Schools. And so, maybe it's my school committee member bias showing through as I served in my town school committee, but I wanted to thank Mrs. DeWidzik, and I wanted to thank Mr. Spitz, and they don't know that I'm doing this, but 6 years is a long time, and that's a lot of nights, and that's an awful lot of dedication that goes on after the 10 and 15 and 18 years that they donated so much of their time and energy to our students, you know, to make sure that Best Buddies became a program that was a viable program that is now very popular in a lot of other schools and districts. Well, Mrs. DeWidzik helped us get it on the early side. And when, back in '03 and '04, athletics was cut as a way to save on budget, I believe both Mr. Spitz and Mrs. DeWidzik stood and delivered and helped raise those funds so that our students would not be denied access to athletics. So I just had a couple of small presents that I wanted to present both to Pat and to Bill. I wish Mark and Brenda could be here tonight. I know they share in the same thanks, because it is a thankless job in many ways, and I do appreciate even their constructive criticism, because it only makes you better. And coincidentally, they both were my boss for the first 2 years, and while I'm
that's
giving...
why we're leaving now.
Well, and that's
I
why
don't want to say that, but...
That's why I'm giving this to you at the end of the end of my evaluation. It is a great pleasure and great honor.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you very much, Pat.
Thank you.
Mr. Spitz,
Thank you very much.
very much for
Thank
all
you.
of your help and all of your work, and I appreciate it, so thank you. That ends my report.
Thank you very much. Mrs. DeWidzik, you're on.
Oh, did the business manager want to go?
Oh,
Actually, I have nothing for this evening, so thank you for being,
that worked out.
You knew that?
I knew that.
Oh, after
Mrs.
that.
DeWidzik?
I do have a couple things for the last time around.
Okay.
First, I certainly want to congratulate these students at OHS for the induction into the National Honor Society last week. I think it was one of the loveliest ceremonies I'd ever been to. It was just very nice to see the students and their families, and especially the teachers who were chosen. That was very touching, and it was a very nice night. I want to congratulate the students who qualified for the districts, as Nikki pointed out. It's the first time all of our spring sports teams have someone going in the district, so it's a great time for OHS, so I want to congratulate them. I also want to congratulate senior class, because as my term will end, just as their senior year activities will begin, I just want to wish them all the best. Congratulations in your new endeavors, and remember not to be afraid to try to make a difference in this world, and please be safe during this month of senior activities. And one more thing, seeing it's my last meeting, I just wrote a few notes. I wish to thank a few people, please. I want to thank my colleagues here, whom I've sat here with the last 6 years. This really was never a dull moment on this board. But even despite our differences, the ability to put the children of this district first was always our common thread, so thank you. To the administration, the business manager, and the superintendent, I thank you for your support and guidance. For some of you, I've had the opportunity to know much longer than others, and all of our talks and discussions have been most welcomed and enlightening, and I will treasure those memories. To the many families, the students, and very good friends whom I've had the opportunity to work with in my 18 years of volunteering in this district, through PTOs, Friends of Middle School, booster clubs, CPACs, advisory councils, Building and Clarabout Playground, and then now the Oxford School Committee, I thank all of you for your support, and especially your kindness. But most of all, I have to thank my family. My parents, Larry and Barbara Donovan, my sisters, Sue Manzi and Julie Bazowski, all of whom have fielded many questions these past 6 years of what I know, what I told them, what they thought was going on, things they never knew. Their constant support kept me going many, many times. And especially my partner and husband, John, and my daughters, Maggie, Abby, and Emily, whom I started this journey for. I wanted to make sure that they had the same school memories that I had, that they had someone to fight for their rights and their needs, the same as I had someone who fought for mine when I attended the Oxford Public School System. My girls never complained once about the time that I had to spend away from them, and some weeks it was certainly a lot. And although I tried to balance it all, I'm sure there were times when they just wanted to have their mom be their mom and not an advocate for 2,100 children. Well, the time has come for me just to be a mom and to advocate for my children. I sincerely hope that someday when people look back at these days, they say that I was part of a group that did make a difference. I was honored, and it was my pleasure to serve this town. Thank you.
What do you want to take off after that?
So I actually have a comment from Mrs. Ennis, who was unable to make tonight's meeting, but she just wanted me to let you two know that she has enjoyed working with both of you. And her words are, even though we had our differences, I know deep down our focus was on the children, and that's most important. I will miss you both. So, and I need to echo that because we definitely have had some giggles. We've had some growling and, you know, other things, but it's been a great 6 years or 5 years that I've been here. So I appreciate both of you and everything that you've done, and I'd like to comment on a lot of the things you said as far as the NHS, the teachers. That was just a fabulous addition, and I hope that continues. So great job, and thank
Good,
you.
very good. Well, I'm not going to be as eloquent as Mrs. DeWizard because I didn't prepare anything, as I never do. But I just wanted to thank everybody for the opportunity to serve the community. As Pat mentioned, we've all been, the two of us have been involved in the community since my oldest one is 31. I've been in the PTOs, I've been in the middle school friends, every single group that you could imagine to make sure that the school that each child was part of was an experience that they'd remember. And you know, I've gotten more joy out of it than the kids probably did at the time when we did all these things and we spent all these hours in it. The Booster Club, you know, I was in that for, you know, it's about 5 years, I think, and, you know, president for 4 years, and Nada, who's in the audience there, was my treasurer. We did a lot of great work in that as well. So, I mean, I've spent a lot of time in town. This 6 years, I think, was really great because I was able to impact directly how we funded programs for the school department. And I think we all did the best that we could with the finances that we really had to work with that the town gave us. And it has been my real pleasure because I've met a lot of tremendous people in this organization through the school department. Most everybody that's sitting here at the Administrative Council, I've been in your schools, I've seen you at work. I've never had a time that I wasn't impressed, and I really can honestly say that you work very, very well together, very cohesive as a group. You come up with ideas that we're able to vote on that really make sense to me, which is really half the battle. And I want to thank you for all your hard work and dedication, because you too are what makes the school department as good as it is. Mr. Himmelberger, it's been a pleasure to work with you this past year. Mr. Matthew, we appreciate all the efforts that you've put forward this year. And again, it was troubling times at points, and we managed to get through it. And I think it's because of the cohesive group that you have in front of you here that we were able to do that. So again, I just want to thank you. And again, it was my pleasure and my honor to serve the community. I've been in Oxford for 54 years now, and I love the town. Maybe not after the town meeting, the comments that were made about the school committee, but I still do, and plan to still stay involved to some degree. So thank you all very, very much, and I appreciate it. So, with that being said, we could open the floor for any comments. Anybody have any comments? Anything they'd like to say? Okay, we'll close the floor. Thank you. That was quick enough. We do have a request tonight for an executive session. We're going to go into executive session under Chapter 39, subsection 23, Section 23B, subsection 3, and this will be for contract negotiations. So, could we put that to a vote, please?
So moved?
Second.
Vote. Mrs. Dwitzik?
Yes.
Mrs. Coonan?
Yes.
I also vote yes. We are now in executive session. So thank you.